You're listening to the best in the throwback hits right here at GFN Soul NYC FM and FFT World TV. I'm Robert Ashley. We welcome you to the Robert Ashley Report, where we do news and commentary. We're coming on with breaking news right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And it's all centered around 19-year-old young man by the name of Karmelo Anthony and a deceased 17-year-old by the name of Austin Metcalf. Well, if you hadn't heard by now, Karmelo Anthony, the 19-year-old from Frisco, Texas, has been convicted of first-degree murder by an all-white jury here in Collin County, just next door to Dallas County. Now, also, that same all-white jury has sentenced this 19-year-old young African-American, Karmelo Anthony, to 35 years here in prison here in the state of Texas. Now, Karmelo Anthony was indeed convicted of fatally stabbing Austin Metcalf during a high school track meet in April of 2025. Now, this particular trial also had racial overtones. Not only an all-white jury, but the convicted murderer, Karmelo Anthony, young black man, 19 years old, and the victim, unarmed, Austin Metcalf, only 17. Now, everything surrounded a track meet, and we understand that Karmelo Anthony had went and sat in a certain area for another team. Reportedly, Austin Metcalf approached him, asked him to leave, and Karmelo Anthony apparently said he wasn't going to leave. And of course, the conversation continued, and reportedly, Karmelo Anthony allegedly said, "If you touch me, see what happens." And from what we understand, Austin Metcalf then allegedly, reportedly, according to witness testimony, and of course testimony in this trial, then pushed Karmelo Anthony, and Karmelo Anthony reportedly produced a knife from a bag and then stabbed Austin Metcalf, and reportedly he died in his brother's arms. So as it stands right now, an all-white jury, Collin County, has convicted Karmelo Anthony of first-degree murder and sentenced him to 35 years in prison here in the state of Texas. Now, also, throughout this particular trial, there had been a lot of racial animosity on display outside of the courtroom. Law enforcement officials had to come in on many occasions to separate the crowds there. A lot of contention. Now, also, there is still concern as to whether or not this could possibly be viewed as a racial powder keg here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But there are many who are saying that the jury has spoken. Now, it was an all-white jury. There had been a lot of concern that there were 3 African Americans in that jury pool, but somehow or another, they all wind up getting struck off of the potential jury list. So once again, Karmelo Anthony, 19 years old, convicted of first-degree murder in connection with the stabbing death of Austin Metcalf, now sentenced to 35 years. Right now, I have with me the founder of GFN Soul NYC FM, the one and only Wayne G. from the Sugar Hill neighborhood there in New York City, of course, the mighty G-Force Nation. And Wayne, once again, we thank you for being with us. But man, talk to us about your reaction to this first-degree murder conviction and now 35-year sentence for Karmelo Anthony.
Well, I'm not shocked. You know, that's the main thing. But I'm more hurt that it's 2 families that their lives are disrupted forever. You know, I mean, you lost 2 babies in this, you know, and I mean, they were young men, but they were still babies. They haven't even experienced the world as they would need to experience the world going forward. And we have to train our kids today to let the little things stay little, because one decision that you can make can impact your life forever. And at that moment, none of us was there. So we don't know the severity of what that person thought. We don't know the severity of how it even started. We just don't know. But I'm not here to judge that. But I'm just hoping that, you know, finer minds will prevail and work this thing out. Because, Robert, you know, 35 years, that's a long time of your life to be changed when you really wasn't raised to be that type of person in that situation that you in. It's a decision that got you there. So what do you think that we can do in the communities to kind of heal and try to bond amongst each other so this doesn't get any worse than what it is already?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, I think we possibly, in many occasions, we have to ignore a lot of the agitators. Now, take, for example, you got agitators who were in support of Karmelo Anthony. Some call them agitators, some call them supporters. You have those who were considered to be agitators for Austin Metcalf, and some of them are considered to be supporters as well as agitators. Now, the agitators could possibly provoke racial tension, or maybe just continued racial hatred or vitriol that could create an atmosphere where the next thing you know, people are fighting each other just because of race. One group is upset about the verdict, another group is cheering on the verdict. But we have to teach our young people that, look, Karmelo Anthony is now going to have to pay for what he literally did. He told the authorities that he literally stabbed Austin Metcalf. Now, he tried to act like he had some kind of remorse after stabbing the man to death, but see, that was the after fact. What we've got to do is be able to control our emotions from Jump Street. Now, if somebody walked up to us, I mean, we both grew up in the black neighborhood where there were a lot of fights. We saw all kinds of everything. Just because somebody walked up to you and told you to move or pushed you, according to Texas law, that does not allow you to use deadly force and kill somebody just because they touched you or put their hand on you, and you said you did this in self-defense. Self-defense of what? Self-defense of somebody touching you or somebody pushing you? You had to kill them? Now, if somebody walked up to you with a knife or a gun and your life was really threatened because they had a weapon and they were aiming it at you or something like that, that all-white jury said, well, hey, Karmelo, this is no self-defense. Just because somebody pushed you, that deserves death. Just because somebody put their hands on you, you kill them. So we got to teach our young people that this is a teachable moment and not to overreact. The Word of God talks about the war that goes on between the flesh and the spirit. There's constantly, my flesh may say, let me go ahead and stab this person just because they touched me. But my spirit may say, well, that's an overkill. Just because somebody touched me and asked me to leave, I'm going to take their life. And the Texas law say, well, that doesn't qualify for the use of deadly force because just because somebody touched you and say, get up and get out of here, that ain't no threat to your life, man.
Well, I spoke to a young lady yesterday on Facebook, and, everybody was talking about, their different views. And she was, clear to say that, well, if someone made her feel like her life is a threat, that, she'll do what she have to do. And I say, well, the situation has to meet that, because we cannot say those type of words and young kids out here start believing if you're being bullied in school, that gives you the right to just kill your bully. That's not the way to go about thinking. When we went to get our permits for our gun license, there were 50 rules that how you can go to jail with a gun license if you don't do things the right way. He made it clear that, you in an argument and the argument ain't going your way, that don't mean that you just pull out your gun. He told you how even if someone breaks in your house and they on their way out the door, they're no longer a threat to your life. So if you turn around and shoot them in the back, you could be faced with a murder case. So, the responsibility is we have to teach our children. Like I told before, when there was a lot of situations that was coming up with young people and the police, it's us as parents that got to sit down and have that talk with our children and kind of give them an education on how to engage with a police officer. If they're coming at you and they a certain way, I'd rather you go limp and just let them win and let me come and get you from the jailhouse instead of you making it your decision to where something can happen and you never come home. So it's on us as parents to train our children on how to engage things, because I hurt for this young man that's going to spend 35 years, and I hurt for the family that lost their son, because these were two young men that we don't know what type of impact they could have had on the world.
Right. When you look at both of these young men, both of them were scholars. They were athletes. Right. They had very, very promising futures ahead of them. But whatever spirit got into Austin Metcalf. And see, the one thing about Austin Metcalf, how come he didn't go get an adult and say, look, we got somebody sitting in an area that we think is inappropriate. And see, Austin Metcalf, with all due respect to him, and his family, let's not try to be so much in control of everything. If you want somebody to move, they're sitting somewhere, and then they dare you to touch them, go get the authorities. Go get an adult. Don't try to take it into your own hands, because it could wind up deadly, with all due respect to that young man.
And that's not your job to be security. That's where they pay people to be.
Right.
And I'm sure if there was any type of incident, someone would have came over there and broke it up. It just didn't have to get out of control behind that. So, Robert, what is your final words? And do you think that was a overkill on the sentencing? Or do you think that maybe they should have copped the plea and threw themselves on the mercy of the court at that point?
Yeah, there were many defense lawyers once the verdict came in, and it only took the jury 3 hours, the all-white jury, 3 hours to come back with a verdict of guilty of first-degree murder. That 35-year sentence, it could have been life. He could have gotten life in prison. So, and the family could have copped a plea. Their lawyer could have gone to the Collin County prosecutors and say, well, look, we want to go ahead and cop a plea. We'll throw ourselves at the mercy of the court and just see what the judge would do. But in this case, I can imagine Austin Metcalf's family wanted life, because, Austin's not coming back. He's gone. And a life for a life, that may make it even to a great extent. But of course, Karmelo Anthony, once life is over, he's going to have to face possibly a judgment from God. Thou shalt not kill. That's one of the 10 commandments there, if you will. And to take a knife and just to plunge it into somebody and kill them because they touched you, and then the fact that you brought the knife, the jury probably said, this is premeditated. Why would you bring a knife to a track meet? For what? So that 35 years, they may have had some degree of mercy on him, because he's 19 years old. And he may live for the next 35 years and get out due to prison conditions now, overcrowding. But see, you're in Texas. You took the life of a young, promising white boy. And either way you look at the controversy about Black Lives Matters, and the whole Black Lives Matters crowd only get involved when there's racial overtones. And Wayne, I think you've been kind of posting about that on your social media page, that black folks only get involved when it's somebody white killing somebody black. But we can kill every weekend 35, 25, a lot of folks can get shot, and you'll hear nothing from these civil rights so-called leaders.
Right. This happened recently in New York City. I think it's a 4-month-old baby shot by two gangbangers in a carriage. The Al Sharptons and them didn't march on that. They didn't rally anything. So, listen, we have to do better amongst ourselves, first and foremost. Before you're going to get any justice from any race of people, you got to be able to treat each other right. Because they looking at us on how we treat ourselves like animals. Why would they want to love us? So we have to do better for ourselves. And I'm going to pray for Austin Metcalf family, and I'm going to pray for Carmelo's family. I'm going to pray for Karmelo that you be safe inside there and learn all you can, because we have some great people that went to prison and came out, a.k.a. Malcolm X. So your life ain't over because of this. Things can change in a couple of years. Who knows? But stay strong.
And Karmelo probably, I would encourage him to repent to God in connection with taking a man's life. I mean, to take somebody's life, the Word of God said that the wages of sin is death. So Karmelo may have some soul searching to do. He's going to have a lot of time to do it with 35 years sentence. I'm sure his family going to probably appeal.
Yes, I will.
That. But on what grounds? Because when he was arrested, he told the authorities he didn't. So
right, but when you have nothing to lose, Rob, you got nothing to lose. So if you can appeal, just go ahead. You just never know. And that's what they got to look at right now, because there's nobody that's pitying him. There's people that forgiving him. There's people that's overlooking the thing that happened and not realizing it's still a family and it's a life that's been affected. So I can't just look and say, oh, just don't give him anything because, basically he was being bullied. Facts have to make it all come sense, and none of us was there. Only who was there. So I'm just going to pray for the young man and just hope that somewhere along the line he can get his life right.
I tell you, it's a tragic situation. Either way you look at it, both families have been severely impacted by it, and we can just only pray that this will be a teachable moment, that the next time our emotions get out of control, just think back about that war between the flesh and the spirit. You can't let the flesh win. You got to let the Spirit of God prevail. I'll just leave it on that note, Wayne.
No doubt. So it's the Best in Throwback Hits Radio, GFN Soul NYC FM. We're going to be doing this a lot of times, when we're not in studio and something breaks big, we'll just come out and we'll feed the information to you. I mean, we're not trying to put our opinions of how we feel, who's guilty, who's innocent. That's what media don't do. We have a lot of people that's in media that's putting their emotions into this and, speaking on what they feel. It ain't about what I feel. That's amongst me in my living room or whatever to talk about that. I'm just reporting it, and I'm going to let the people judge what they think. It's not my job. It's just me to bring you the news, and that's what we're doing. And, I'm hurt because it's two young people that God created to be great, that lives have been changed. So remember, GFN Soul NYC FM, the Dr. Robert Ashley Report. We got Real Talk with the Supreme Master Wayne G that's going forward, where I'll be able to reach out to people. If they got issues and you want to talk about it, let's talk about it. We don't judge, and I'm not going to let nobody get on your feed and judge you. We're going to talk about it.
All right. Well, once again, that's my colleague there, Wayne G, the founder, right here at GFN Soul NYC FM and FFT World TV. And don't forget now to share our content, hit that notification bell. That way you can find out when we're posting new information. And also like our information and share our content. And also don't forget about our Roku and our Amazon Fire channels, where we have, of course, the best in throwback music right there at GFN Soul NYC FM. And also our gospel station, Godly Radio. Well, on behalf of Wayne G, and of course, right here at GFN Soul NYC FM and FFT World TV, I'm Robert Astley.
Where the sirens sing lullabies at night. Young kings throwing dice underneath the streetlights. Mama prayed hard while the rent stayed late. Trying to keep faith while we dance with fate. Concrete dreams in a cold world maze. Lost too many brothers to them dark hallways. Still I rise with the fire inside. Even when the city tried to kill my pride. I done seen pain turn love into war. Seen hungry kids sleeping cold on the floor. But I keep pushing, heart of a giant. Never let the system make my soul stay strong. I know I'm a NYG, born from the struggle, still standing free. Through the rain, through the tears I bleed. The city made a soldier.